And so this is back at the time when I was living up in the Hollywood Hills, so it's going back quite a few years. And all one night, this guy called Eddie kind of pulled up, and he was driving around in. I didn't know what the car was at the time, but it turns out it was a Lotus Esprit. But he could not drive a manual transmission car to save his life, and he pulled up right at the side of me. I was stood on the other side of the road. It was really late at night, and we ended up having a bit of a chat about the car. And the next thing I knew, he was asking me to drive the car for him over to the hotel where it was staying, which was, I think it was called the Regent in Beverly or something like that. Anyway, we spent the night having a few drinks, chatting away. We drove his car over to the hotel, and then the next day when we woke up, he actually paid me $3,000 to spend 6 days with him, pretending to be his partner, which was just absolutely amazing. So we went through this whole kind of week of doing different things, and he lived a very lavish lifestyle, which I was not accustomed to at the time. So yeah, it was a whole very interesting week. But in the end, we kind of fell for each other a little bit, and we spent a bit of time together, and it was a good time.
But you lived quite a life, Jay. You always have the most interesting stories to tell us.
I know, right? I know.
I'm really curious to see how long it takes before Upas's arm gets tired.
It's already getting tired.
Because mine's getting tired just looking at that. Quick shout out to the incredible amount of subs that we got before we were even live.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Shout out to IC Beck. Says whoop whoop, thank you, sir. Geo subscribing at tier 3 with a bunch of Ys. Mr.
Yeah.
Petrov at tier 2 saying first. You are indeed not first, my friend, but we do appreciate
Just let him have it. Just let him believe it.
All right, Petrov absolutely first. So there you go. You heard it here first, guys. Octagon, thank you so much for the tier 1, my friend. And it was the hype train, man. It was like already going. DMC,
Yeah.
been a while since I've seen you around, man. Glad to have you. Since it's been a while, subs at tier 1. Thank you so much. Monster Lag
17
as well.
months as well.
Yeah, there's some subs going on. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. It's
September, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's it. Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah.
Like, this is way more subs than we normally get by this point in the show.
Rabbit Sensei as well. 6 months. It says woo top pack premium again. Thank you, man.
Top Clack premium. I like that. I'm just a big fan of the word premium, to be honest.
Premium.
Keeb on me, subbing at tier 1 as well. Thank you so much. Keeb on me. I like that. And Lunar Summon.
Lunar as well. Saying hi, Jay. Ooh, hi to me, but not to you, Brian. I noticed this. They said hi, Jay.
We already know that I'm way less important than you, Jay. It's okay. I've made my peace with it.
That was so many subs.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy. Thanks.
No one guessed the movie though. No one guessed the movie we were doing today.
I was thinking about it. I couldn't get it.
Did you get it, Upas? Did you know what the movie was?
That's totally lost.
Oh, it was Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman. Like, this is a classic movie. Richard Gere, Julia Roberts.
Never seen it.
Oh, what you guys are missing out. You should go watch that. You should go watch it.
I have no doubts it could be an exceptional movie, but I just don't watch movies. Oh man. Yakbat says
Nebula
I take
says that premium whipped cream is extra creamy.
Is Nebula just highlighting all of his messages?
Yeah, I think so. Hey, you got to do something with them points, right?
What a guy. Yeah. I guess we should probably add some different goals for our. I'm gonna toy with that. I think after the stream, because I know some people have like custom ones set. It's a good idea.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, and big shout out to Brez1623 for a 13-month streak of subs, and to Storsnus as well with a 5-month streak. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate those.
It says tasty. Are the notifications not coming through? I feel like notifications have been kind of...
Have you turned them off, Brian?
No, I don't think so. Wait, hold on. What's going on here? Are they not a part of this scene? You know what? They might not be a part of this scene.
Huey, if you donate 500,000 bits, I will shave my beard off on the stream.
Sure,
500,000 bits, yeah.
I feel like for 500k, you gotta shave your head too.
Brian will shave his head, and I'll shave my beard.
That's a lot of bits. I'll shave whatever you want for 500,000 bits. Let's be real here, gentlemen. Oh golly, you guys are hilarious.
Hugh says he didn't mean bits, he meant channel points. No, it's got to be bits, man. You said bits, so yeah.
he did say bits. Oh man, it's okay. You don't have to donate 500,000 bits.
But if you do, Brian will shave his head, and I will shave my beard.
I've never shaved my head in my life.
Yeah, neither have I. Neither have I.
Oh,
I did.
Then you guys both got to do it. Like, the bits count.
I would look so. I mean, I look dumb either way, but I would look like extra dumb if I shaved my head. I think. I don't think I could pull off bald.
Yeah, I'm not sure my head's the right shape for it. Have you ever shaved your head, Upas?
No, never.
500k bits is $4,800. Yeah, and now you can see why Brian and I will shave.
We'll take that money and we'll get a bunch of like really premium wigs, and we'll just wear like wigs.
Yeah.
Each week we'll have a different wig.
Can you do that? You must be able to, right?
Oh man. I mean, yeah.
I don't mean like the beards that you put on for fancy dress, but I mean like a proper professional one. You must be able to get those. That must be a thing.
How does the audio, guys in chat? Let me know how the audio is before we officially start. I want to make sure that everyone can hear everyone correctly. Penguin dropping is quoting
Sounds
me,
good.
whatever he wants. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Neb said he buzzed his head before doing the cool board the other week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did see you on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you see, you can pull off a buzzed head. I don't think I can.
Neb just looks good whatever he does, though. That's the thing.
That's true. He's a handsome fella. As is everyone else in the chat. I mean, this has to be the most attractive Twitch chat on the internet, I think.
Yeah, beautiful, handsome, attractive, a little bit devilish. Yeah.
And now we have Upas on today too, so it's like
I know he's making us look bad, man.
Our attractiveness scale went from like a 3 out of 10 to like a 16 out of 10. Sounds good. Okay, cool.
Upas is a little cutie. I agree. Taco sausage. Yeah.
We had the luxury of seeing him in person last year.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that that's over a year ago now.
Right? It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Yeah, it's like, was it July last year? I think so.
Yeah, I think it was July last year. End of July, was it?
Yeah, just a little over 13 months ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Chuleta says, "Never shaved your head? Boring."
Miss Petrov says those top Clack started. Like, kinda.
No, I mean, we haven't officially started. It's 6 p.m. Pacific now, so we just do a little pre-show, catch up on chat. You guys know the drill.
Yeah, that's why we haven't asked any questions yet, Petrov. We will do soon. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Hue donates 50 bits and says, "I'm 1 in 10,000th of the way there."
Awesome.
Appreciate that, my friend. Hey, man, 50 is still a lot. We appreciate that.
I'll pluck one beard hair for you. There you go.
Upas volume needs to go up a little bit. Oh yeah.
Should I talk a little bit so you can figure out the volume?
Sure.
Yeah. Tell us about your day, Upas. How's your day been today?
Oh, today was pretty good. I lots of Cannonkeys work today. I'm actually not working the day job this week. So about 1/3 of the Chimeras have shipped. So that's great.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Any Chimera extras?
There are Chimera extras, but we're gonna do those after the group buys done.
Yeah, for sure. I get you.
Ned says, "Wait, I was wrong. He's too loud now. I only turned it up 10%. All right, I'm turning it back to 100.
He's clearly very sensitive with his ears.
Well, I mean, Nebulin's Nebulant.
And
I mean that with love. Man, so many brutal Winkeyless in the chat. Everyone just keeps spamming.
Right?
All right, guys.
I don't know how it started. Someone started brutal Winkeylessing in the brutal chat channel in my Discord, and it seems to be spreading a little bit.
Is it kind of like
it's clearly spread to here?
Is it like a meme now, or is it? Are they asking for something? Are they asking for Winkeyless brutal? Oh yeah, I guess that hasn't been done yet, right? You've done the HHKB, but you haven't done the Winkeyless.
I haven't done the win keyless, but they arrived with the Chimera. So after Chimera Group
Nice.
is done, there will be Brutal win keyless.
Nice. Doggo cameo. Oof. Always show off some pets on top Clack.
My dog is asleep. I'm surprised you guys can't hear her. She's asleep somewhere on the couch here, but I can hear her snoring if I take my headphones off. So she's snoring a little head off. Bless her. I'm surprised you can't hear her.
All right. Well, I think that's enough of this, and we should officially start the show now. We shouldn't keep these kind, amazing, attractive people waiting. All right. Welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Quakemz, joined as usual by my lovely co-host, Jay. And as you guys can probably see in the screen here, we have a very special guest on with us today. We have Upas of Cannonkeys, and he is dedicating some of his valuable time to come talk to us about some cool things. So, how are you guys doing today, Upas? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. You know, I'm actually taking I mentioned it in the pre-show, but I'm taking a 1 week break from my day job, and it's been very, very appreciated. So
nice.
That sounds good. Yeah, I did the same last week, and going back to work this week was pretty difficult. I'll be honest. Monday morning, Tuesday morning because it was a bank holiday on Monday, but Tuesday morning that I really felt it after taking a week off the day job. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about going full-time vendor, Upas? I know you probably get that question a lot, and a lot of people may be surprised to know that you're not like a full-time vendor like a lot of the other vendors these days.
I mean, I've definitely thought about it. Just I don't think I'm quite there yet. So, you know, ask me again in a few months or a year. Who knows, right?
Yeah, totally. So we're going to start out this episode with a little bit of a show and tell, just to kind of lighten things up before we get into a little bit of a heavier hitting issue. So let's show off some cool keyboards and/or keyboard products, because I know Upas was teasing a lot of things before the stream. I don't know what he's putting to show off here, but why don't you start us out, Upas? What kind of things do you want to show off to the good fine folks out here?
You guys have seen it already, but I got this nice little sticker right here.
It's very cute.
Show and tell item.
Is that the
that looks
legendary
really
sticker?
expensive.
It is the sticker. Yes, this is the sticker. So,
The $500 sticker. All right.
some other stuff too to show off. 1 sec. This here's a new PCB. It's the Instant 65. It's a hot swap 65. That's pretty much it.
Nice. We definitely appreciate those. I have the Instant 60 in my Brutal, and man, I freaking love it.
Such a good starter board. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, so the Instant 65 is meant to work with the Savage 65, and it's also going to work with the Practice 65 Rev 2. But I feel like if you use the Instant 65 and the Practice 65 Rev 2, like, you're kind of defeating the purpose, right? Like, the whole idea is to solder. So
that's very true. It's right there in the name. Practice. Well, what about you, Jay? Do you have any fun boards to show off today?
Yeah. So I've wanted to show off two boards. One is the JO1 because I've been using this so often recently that I absolutely adore it. And I know I shouldn't really show my own stuff, but hey, it's great. But one thing I do really want to show, and I'm gonna have to unplug it, so apologies if my PC makes a noise. But I've been using this board for the 2 weeks since I built it, and I can't get over how much I'm enjoying it. So this is the FLX Virgo TKL. And I thought I would really, really struggle using this, but I'm absolutely blown away by how good it is and how nice it is. And this is where that Skeletor key set that you've got for me is going to go, because as you can see, the colors will match quite nicely with the Skeletor key set.
Very nice. What do you have on there right now?
Say again, sorry?
what's on it right now?
That's GMK Phantom, so that's the original run of GMK Phantom. You probably can't quite see the yellow legends in this light, though.
I think it looks fairly good in that light, honestly.
It does, and I really like Phantom as a set, but the Phantom's going to go on the Key Cult Phantom Edition board that I've got. So the key set does need to come off here, and that's the reason why I bought Skeletor, because it'll match the teal bottom and the purple top. So yeah, those are the two things I wanted to show today. But I really love that board. So Flex, if he's watching this, he did a great job on that board. It's really good.
Nice. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people post pictures about him, and people seem to be really loving that board.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. It was a good build as well. Like, it's really interesting one to build and put together. He uses like U-shaped gaskets that go around the plate, so you can the gaskets are literally shaped like that, and you slot the plate into them. So it's kind of really interesting. It's very different from a lot of other boards, but it feels really good to type on. It sounds nice, and it's just genuinely nice thing to have on the desk.
Heck yeah, nice. Well, I have at least one thing to show off today. I'm going to show off what I actually built on my most recent build stream last Friday, I believe it was. This is a board you don't see too often. This is the Clippa S version, so this is the slightly kind of upgraded version. It's more of a bottom/sandwich mount versus the traditional tray mount. Has a nice little weight kind of peeking through at the bottom there, very shiny. And I have GMK Cafe on this, and unlike a lot of the other pictures of Cafe I've been seeing lately, I actually went with the dark alphas on this particular setup. And man, that is... I think it looks fantastic.
I wish I'd bought the dark alphas. Like, I really messed up not buying the dark alphas for that set.
I freaking love this, man. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for like monochrome things anyways, but you get the little bean novelties in there, and then the accents on the Enterisk. Oh man, I have been absolutely loving this setup. This particular one, I had chat vote on a couple things for me, and we went with a polycarbonate plate, as well as a WT60D PCB, courtesy of Mekanisk, of course, and some of the new Novelkeys silk switches. So this came together pretty well, and I'm quite happy with it.
Nice, nice. I've got to say, Brian, any 60 in your hands looks like a 40 in my hands. It's like your hands just envelop the board.
You should go back. You'll get that comment on every single typing test I've ever done on a 60 or 65% board. People are just like, "Where? What? How do you even do that?"
Yeah.
But yeah, hey man, I have big hands, but 60 is still my preferred layout. I freaking love 60%.
You know what they say about guys with big hands, right?
Big feet.
Big gloves.
Big
gloves.
Oh,
yeah.
True. I should have seen that. They also say just now they started saying big hands, small keyboards. So go ahead and spread the word on that as well. Too late.
How tall is Brian? He's very tall.
I am 6'4", which I think is like 193 centimeters.
Upas is pretty tall as well, though. If I remember, I'm short, so everyone's tall compared to me. So.
I'm like 6'1", but when I met Brian, I was like, "Wow, Brian, you're tall."
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Normally when I meet people that are about 6 foot, I can tell they're about 6 foot. But then you put Brian in the same room, and it's like, are they 5'10" or are they actually 6 foot? And Brian just makes them look small.
What's hilarious is we did that live episode at that meetup, or not at the meetup, but the weekend when we got to the Airbnb, we did a live episode there, and it was literally Jay and I side by side on the couch. For anyone that hasn't seen it,
I look so tiny.
This is on the YouTube channel, of course, and so you get to see, like, we're sitting, but you get to see myself and Jay side by side, and I am like actually two of Jay. It's pretty funny.
It's true. I look tiny on there, and yeah, scary. And really interestingly, about 2 hours after we finished that was when you came around, Upas, to our Airbnb and showed out off your prototype, which turned out to be the Chimera. I don't know if you recall that, but you came around to our Airbnb and showed that board off. Yeah,
it was good.
I remember coming over a few times, but I forget all the specifics. It was such like a short weekend, but it felt really fun. It flew by.
It was a good time, though. It was a good time. The weekend surrounding the meetup is always... I love the meetup, too, don't get me wrong, but just, like, hanging out with all the other keyboard people before, during, and after the meetup is always my favorite part. Shout out to Orange Josh, who subbed just a few moments ago. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Sir Fortuna as well. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Heck yeah. It's pronounced USPS. How do you pronounce your name? Is it actually Upas, or have we been wrong this whole time?
No, I say Upas.
Okay.
Upas, yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was about to look really dumb or not.
Gio saying we had so many people at that Airbnb after the meetup. Man, there was like 30 people there after the meetup. It was crazy.
It was kind of wild. I'm surprised we didn't
Dixie
get any noise complaints. I talked to the owner of the place, because I was the one that scheduled the Airbnb or whatever. So I talked to him afterwards, and I was like, "Were we too loud?" He's like, "No, I never even heard you guys." I was like, "What?" That's crazy.
He didn't hear us. Wow.
Apparently not, which is impressive because
the owner was still there?
He was in the basement. Yeah, he had like a flat in the basement.
There was like he lived like underneath, but it was like kind of like soundproofed in a way. So yeah, he was totally fine with it, and I was really surprised because I was really worried that night because it got really loud.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come up at one point and start telling us to keep it down and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good because there was loads of people there. There was Dixie there, Upas, you came and with your partner,
there.
and
I mean we had like 8 people just staying in the Airbnb naturally, and then like a bunch of people came over.
I am me, you are you. He turned up. Langelandia was there for a bit, I think. Yeah, it was just everyone. It was really good.
Even Gio was there.
Even Gio, yeah, even Gio, yeah. Christmas Kane as well. Oh yeah, Chris was there. How could I forget Chris? That was a good night. Yeah,
159.
Yeah, 159.
Yeah, 159 was there. Yeah, sushi. Yeah.
We could reminisce about this all day, but
we
should get to a more keyboard-centered topic here. So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of botting, or rather the use of bots to effectively give yourself an advantage in purchasing products. So why don't you start us off, Upas? Can you tell us a little bit about like what exactly botting is and maybe why it's bad?
Cool. So, all right. Well, botting is basically using any kind of like computer program to sort of give yourself an advantage when it comes to buying like these limited products, right? I guess there's some common misconceptions. One is like, oh, it's just like an auto clicker. Well, that is kind of like the most rudimentary bot, but there are a lot of bots out there that are like way more advanced than that. A lot of them don't even like need you to open a web browser or anything. They just kind of do it for you. So I guess that's what a bot is.
Cool. So, I mean, obviously, we could argue whether or not that... Well, I guess we can't really argue it. I mean, effectively, it's bad, right? And I think, obviously, Twitch chat, you can chime in here. Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. Let us know how you're feeling about the situation as well. But, you know, how do we feel about people actually using bots? Is it a bad thing? And, you know, should people be doing it?
I think my take on it is that people feel like it's a bad thing because it takes away the opportunity someone who isn't using a bot to purchase a product. You know, it takes away their opportunity to purchase that product. If it takes the bot 3 seconds to get through the Shopify storefront or whatever else it is, and it takes a human 10 or 12 seconds, they've lost out instantly. And I can understand why they feel aggrieved about that. And I think, you know, I know from what you've said before, Upas, you kind of felt the same way. I wanted to take steps to try and fix that and try and remove that possibility of people feeling that way.
Yeah. So most people in chat are pretty much in agreement with us here that bots, unfair advantage, and apparently some of you guys in chat are called bots by your teammates as well. So we might not be referring to you, however. It does create an unfair advantage, yeah. So fully agree there. So maybe can you give us a little bit of a backstory, Upas, on maybe why we're talking about this? Because you did something recently on your store that I think is pretty darn hilarious and awesome. But you know, I know you maybe have taken a little bit of backlash from it because you know, some people have gotten a little upset about it. But I think I'll let you speak for yourself here. Can you tell us kind of what happened and why you did it?
Yeah. So I knew that, you know, based on like how the MK65 went and a lot of recent, I guess, like in stock events for a bunch of different keyboards, that bots are really becoming kind of an issue in our community. Now, there are ways you can figure out if an order is placed by a bot. I'm not going to go into how, because that would reveal something to like the bot makers and maybe they could use that. But there are ways to kind of like figure out if something was placed by a bot. And you know, even if a bot buys like a product, you can always cancel the order. As a vendor, like if you don't like bots, if you're not okay with bots purchasing the things, you can cancel the order. The problem with that is, I mean, ultimately we want to sell like the extras keyboards or whatever we have in stock to people who actually want the thing, right? I think a lot of the problems that I have with bots is typically the people who are using the bots are just doing it to flip, right?
Yeah.
They're taking away an opportunity from someone else who actually wants the board, and they're just doing it to make a quick buck, right? And it's not really fair to vendors, designers, not really fair to anyone involved for someone to, you know, have an unfair advantage to flip. So one thing I was trying to do for the Iron 165 extras was implement some sort of like bot mitigation system. So for the past couple of months, I've actually been working on like my own custom checkout app sort of thing to help with this, but it's not quite ready, and it might not be ready for a little bit longer. So I talked to the Smith and Rune guys before the Iron 165 extras launched, and I told them, hey, I'm going to try this thing out. I want to see if I can catch as many bots as possible. So I'm going to make this fake listing. And the listing was very clear. It was a picture of this sticker, and it was priced the same as the Iron extras, because a lot of the times bots have price filters, right? They're at least smart enough to know, like, hey, if it's not the price I'm expecting, you shouldn't buy that. So I made this product listing for the stickers. I put, like, oh, this is an Iron 165 add-on to it. The way a lot of bots work are by keywords. So, like, just tossing that in there. And then I also made all the Iron 165 listings. None of them actually had the words Iron 165 in them. So basically, that's what happened. When the Iron 165 extra sale went live, the sticker went live at the same time. It was on the front page. It was the first item. Again, some bots also go based on position. So I ended up catching a ton of bot orders using those stickers. And the reason I think, I consider it a success. I think there was room for improvement. If I had to do it again, I probably would have maybe done it a little bit differently. But ultimately, I did catch a lot of bots. And what that means is a lot of people actually got the opportunity to buy Iron 165 keyboards. Because if it were not for that sticker listing, the bots would have gotten the keyboards. And I would have basically had to cancel every single one of those orders. So from my perspective, it was a success.
Just before we go into that a little bit more detail, how did the Smith and Rune guys feel about it? Were they up for this? Were they enthralled by it? Were they happy to try and get the boards to people who wanted them rather than to potential botters?
Oh yeah, they were totally on board. Like I showed them the preview product listing before it went live, and they were like, "Oh, that's hilarious! Like, you're gonna catch some bots." So they were definitely on board. They felt similarly. Again, like as a designer myself too, like you really want the people who want your product to have a chance to get it from you, right? You don't want someone to just get it to flip it or to resell it. So
yeah. So I know you said you don't really want to go too much into detail about your kind of process and some of the things you're working on to maybe prevent some botting, but is there anything that we can publicly talk about kind of bot defense that maybe other vendors could potentially start picking up? Because I mean, it may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but I think what you've done here is you've kind of started a movement to kind of get people thinking, at the very least, other vendors thinking and brainstorming how maybe they could start defending against bots as well. Because I mean, a lot of people like to make the case that no one in this community is entitled to anything, but like you mentioned, at the end of the day, like as a vendor, you want your product in the hands of people that actually want the product and aren't just trying to make money. And I think most of us can probably agree that's a good thing. So yeah, as far as like other defenses of bots go, do you guys have anything in mind? And of course, again, chat, feel free to chime in. What does everyone think? How can we defend against bots?
kind of want to hear from the community. I mean, a honeypot's certainly a way. Like the sticker was a honeypot, basically. It's you make something very enticing for a bot to grab instead of the thing that people actually want to buy.
Yeah. And it was apparently pretty successful. Like, I'll be honest, it's something I'm worried about for this weekend. Like, genuinely, I'm personally worried about it. There is some research I've been doing into how you can tell what was a botted transaction and not, and how you might be able to play it. And I know you don't want to talk about that on the show because you don't want to reveal some of the secrets, but even from a vendor perspective, it is very hard to prevent. Certainly on a budget and trying to work out on a pace with deadlines and timescales. Like yourself, you said you have this custom checkout that's not quite ready yet, which meant you had to do something slightly different for the i165 extras. How do you feel that's going to change over time? Do you think we're going to see more botting, and do you think that vendors are going to have to step up the defenses even more, or do you think that we'll see it peak, or how do you feel like that's going to happen?
So I guess from my perspective, anytime there's an opportunity to make like an easy flip, like make easy money by buying something and immediately reselling it, I think it's kind of going to attract a lot of the people who make bots or use bots. So I've seen in the chat, like, you know, a lot of people are saying like streetwear, sneakerheads are used to botting, and that's absolutely true. You know, that has kind of the same requirements, right? Like a new Yeezy drops, right? It immediately goes up at least $100 in value, depending on what it is. But for a lot of them, they immediately go up. So it's like, you know, if you have a bot and you manage to get, you know, 5 pair of Yeezys, well, you just made $500 by using that bot. Similarly, you know, when there's an Iron 165 and it's going on sale for $490, and you can flip it on Mech Market for, you know, $1,000, 1.5K, whatever it was going for, it's going to attract the same sort of people, right?
Yeah, a lot of people, especially more recently, coming into the hobby effectively just to make some money. And it's a sad thing to see, because obviously I think I can speak for all of us here. You know, we've been in the community long enough to remember back when it was much more of like a family, and like you respected each other and you trusted each other. And now it's obviously a very different landscape.
Yeah, just a quick pause here to shout out to some subscribers. So thank you very much to I1A for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much, dude. And also to LBI Base as well, saying, hey, man, it's been a while. It has, man. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate that. I wanted to bring up something someone said in chat, which is totally accurate. Sir Knighting said, any defense mentioned publicly would be compromised. That's totally fair, too. I'm kind of curious, though. Is there anything that's kind of publicly known in the sneaker community? Because I'm not really a part of that community. Is there anything kind of publicly known that people are doing to prevent against bots in that community? Or do people just sort of let it happen?
So in the sneaker community, I know a lot of vendors actually do like go back and cancel botted orders. But for the most part, it's kind of accepted as like this is a thing that's going to happen. It's also quite different though, because, you know, when I release Iron 165 extras, there's like a handful, right? There's like 18, 19, 20, however many, right? With sneakers, there's thousands, right? Nike, Adidas, they're all huge conglomerates. Like they're huge companies. That's not really true for keyboards. So it is quite different.
For sure.
I think you're right. I think the amount of resources available to a vendor within the keyboard community is significantly less than what is to some of these sneaker vendors, or indeed in any other industry where bots are used for this kind of thing. I guess that there is one of the key ones which people bring up quite a lot of the time, which is around first come first serve versus raffle, and I know you were keen to talk about that as well, Upas. I mean, so just for those that don't know, first come first serve is where effectively you put a product live on a website and people can just go and buy it. Whoever's quickest gets it. And raffle is sometimes seen as a little bit fairer, but it adds a little bit more work, which is whereby there'll be some sort of form to fill out. People will enter a list, and then the vendor or the designer or whoever will pick at random from that list the number of items that they want to sell, and those people will then be given the opportunity to purchase the product. So how do you feel about that, Upas? What's your thoughts on the differences between those, and why did you go for first come first serve for the 165 extras?
So I think both are bottable. From my perspective, like a raffle or first come first serve, there are ways that bots can enter both, and they could both be gamed. One thing that I don't like about the raffle is, you know, you can go talk to 5 friends who aren't in the keyboard community and be like, hey, enter this for me. And no one could be any the wiser, right? The barrier of entry to get one of your friends to do this is also quite low, right? It's like you don't have to be camping out on a site at a certain time and like click fast and preload your payment information or anything. It's just like, hey, like just go enter your name and address here, select these options for me, and I'll pay you back if you win. So, you know, like nothing's perfect. I think both raffle and first come first serve kind of have their downsides. You know, like a lot of the sneaker bots are kind of set up for these first come first serve kind of things. But, you know, at the same time, you just kind of got to pick one.
Yeah, I think the other issue with raffle as well is the amount of work it generates on the back end as well. So if you have a raffle and you have, say, I don't know how many boards you had for the I-165, but if you say it's 100 for easy reckoning, that's 100 invoices that you have to manually create, issue to the customers. It's 100 invoices that you have to chase when people don't pay. It's 100 invoices that you have to manually type in potentially addresses and options and additional extras and everything else. So it does add to the workload. Versus first come first serve, where the customers are potentially choosing their own items and you don't have to do that work as well.
Yeah, and then just another thing, like, some of that raffle stuff can get automated, right? Like, if you pick the winners, you can make something to auto-generate the invoices with their options and whatever. But I think one of the biggest problems with raffle is the fact that you can send out an invoice and people won't pay, right? For someone like Key Cult, like, everyone's going to pay for the most part. It's not always the case, though. So.
Yeah, and then that's someone else you've got to pick from the list. It's another invoice you've got to generate, and you've got to tell that person you were too slow, which then sometimes leads to negative feedback. And yeah, I do appreciate that raffles can be quite difficult, and that first come first serve is easier from a vendor perspective. But I guess, chat, which do you think is fairer and better for vendors to pick? How do you feel about it, guys? Do you think first come first serve is better, or do you think raffles is better?
We have Salvin in chat who is clearly just completely solving our supply and demand problem. He says, "Just get Salvin to make more boards to drop." There you go. There's your answer. Whatever.
Just make more.
Yeah. Just flood the market with every single product, and you won't ever have to worry about buying.
if only making more was the easiest answer to everything. If that was only the easiest answer.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of a conversation into itself, right? I mean, our community is growing at quite a rate where a lot of these vendors can start actually getting some more equipment. Maybe they can hire someone to help as well. Like it's not quite like every vendor is a one-man operation anymore. Like there's actually multiple people putting quite a lot of time and effort into this.
Sure. I think my view on that, though, is that it's very much, I mean, these are legitimate businesses now, no matter which way you're looking at it from most vendors. They'll be registered as companies, they'll pay their taxes, they'll do their dues, all of that kind of stuff. That's a lot of work in and of itself. And certainly my view is, and lots of people disagree with this, but my view is that it's very much up to the person who's running that business and owning that business as to how much they want to expand and how big they want to go. They should be setting realistic limits for themselves and not overstretching themselves. And to do too much too fast can be very dangerous for any company, for any business. So you have to have good political and business savvy before you start making those decisions. It's not as simple as just saying, or certainly in my opinion, it's not as simple as just saying, I'm just going to do this unlimited. I'm just going to do 1 million boards, because how can you control that? How do you know that you can put the controls in place for it? You have to build up to that.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think Mike also said it too. Like, it's not as easy as just like buying more, right?
Yeah.
I think when he was on Top Clack, maybe, I don't know if he mentioned it, but I heard him say it somewhere. Like, look, in order to buy more, you need capital, so you need like more money. You need space. Like, if you're buying 1 million boards, like you got to store them somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you need people. You need help so that you can get through all the boards, QC the boards, ship them out. So it's really not that easy.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think the space one is underrated. I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but space is absolutely critical to stuff like this. Like, the more space you have for quality control, the more space you have for packaging, the more space you have for storage, the better and easier stuff like this goes. But space costs money, and it's difficult to find, and help is difficult to find, especially in this COVID affected world that we're in right now. Trying to have physical presence of workers on site isn't always the right thing to do, and it's not the right decision to make. So it's not easy to say that's the solution. Just finding a warehouse space that gives you 2,000, 4,000, 10,000 square feet isn't easy. That takes time and effort, and it has to be the right location, right place, the right price.
And then
I think a lot of people miss the detail.
Like, it's happened to Novel Keys recently. It happened to Dixie. They both moved recently. It's tough. Like, it's hard to keep shipping stuff out while you're moving, right? Kono did it too. I think they moved warehouses. They weren't shipping for like close to a month or something. So
yeah, I think Novel Keys is next year. They're going to be going on to their like 4th or 5th new workspace.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was actually after speaking to Mike when I first starting to look for a warehouse for prototypists, and I think I was looking for somewhere around 600-700 square feet, and his first bit of advice was, dude, double it and look for somewhere of that size. He's just like, just double it, because you will not believe how fast space fills up and how much more space you're going to need. As soon as you've got a bit of space, you need more instantly. So, you'll use the space that you have. And you'll grow out of it quite quickly. So that was the first bit of advice he gave me, and that instantly changed what I was looking for. And he was right, absolutely right, because now I've got 2,200 square feet, and it's already getting cozy. So
turns out Mike knows his shit. He's been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Quick shout outs to sorry to interrupt you, Upas. Quick shout outs to Seagreat for gifting a tier 1 sub, paying it forward. Appreciate that, my friend. As well as Morvin Mad, who says, "Oh hi," and subs at tier 1. Oh hi to you as well. And then Heptos subbing at with Twitch Prime rather. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just jumping back to the... Oh, sorry, go on, Upas. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like I remember when we moved into our current space, it's about 1,000 square feet. It felt really big, and now it's just like, we just got, I think. We just got a shipment of a bunch of desk mats, and then like the chimeras and the brutals all came in, and now it feels really cozy. So, it's about a good time to move. So it gets used up real quick.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that when you've got the space, you expand to use the space, and then all of a sudden you need to find more space because you're then trying to reconfigure it to use it for storage or whatever. It is very difficult, and it's not something that happens quickly as well. Moving spaces it's an industrial effort at that kind of scale. Yeah. If anyone's ever moved home, try moving 2 homes at the same time, and then you'll see what it's like. Jumping back to the raffle versus first come first serve as well. It seems like a lot of people were into the first come first serve. Just reading through, a lot of comments are around how first come first serve is preferred, but some people were saying that raffles do feel fairer. Interesting. Kakan with the ever presence saying, just give it away for free, no worries. I guess that's an option.
I always get worried when Kakan says something that isn't a joke. Like, are you okay, man? Are you okay?
Like, if you say something serious, it's like,
Yeah, like I'll open up the Discord and like he'll be like helping someone with something, and I'm like, wait, what? What have you done with Kakan? Oh man, Orange Josh says spot payment to vendor at interest check level. With that, vendor would know 1, interest, 2, demand, 3, prevention of bots. Vendor can also decide when to stop taking in spots.
That's interesting. Yeah, so taking a nominal amount as a deposit almost is interesting. Yeah. I think I don't know what it's like, and you might be able to comment on this for laws in the US, Upas, but there's very specific laws here in the EU around when you can take a deposit for something and when you can't. I have no idea whether that would be possible in the keyboard space here, but it's an interesting thought.
I'd have to look into it, but I think if you're not established, that's kind of like out the window. Like automatically, right? Just because, like, if you're a new designer, how do you address that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
A better player says, "First come, first serve lovers have good internet." And I know that kind of comes off as a joke, but it's it's somewhat true as well. True. I mean, you're competing against so many people all around the world with different internet connections, and you never know what's going to happen. And even bots aside, on a lot of these raffles or first come first serves on I'll say more premium boards or more in demand boards, you start to get thousands and thousands of people, as we've recently seen.
It's interesting as well because you'll have some people that are sat at their desktop on their PC with a hardwired connection, with a fiber connection, 1 gig or whatever. They've got Google Fiber or whatever it's called these days, and then you'll have them competing against someone who is sat on the toilet on the mobile phone, right? That's generally the gist of it, using 4G or 3G connectivity, and it is difficult. It is difficult to give everyone a level playing field from that perspective. It's not easy.
Yeah. Kimchi Jody Boy is asking, in what way is first come first serve more fair over raffle, especially the way Key Cult did their Discord raffle? I just want to get a better understanding of the logic.
Just I can chime in a little bit. I wouldn't call it more fair. I would call both of them equally as unfair. If I had to call it something, we're picking between two imperfect solutions, right? The Key Cult Discord raffle, like it's great. Now that it's announced, though, like people know how to bot it. Anyone can make a Discord account. Anyone can spoof a phone number. Anyone can get a new email address. So, like it was great at first, right? Because people didn't know about it, but now bots have a chance to prepare for it. And that's part of the issue as well, right? All the mitigations that you're going to try to implement, it's almost as if it's like an arms race, right? You implement something, the people who make bots kind of figure out how it works, and then they decide to do something to get around your mitigation. So you have to think of another mitigation, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. Like I just say, Upas, like as soon as you do something different, like you did with the sticker, that's the cat's out of the bag at that point. Like as soon as you've done that, everyone knows that they can prepare for that in the future, and they can expect you to do something similar or with a slight twist to it. Or if another vendor picks that up idea as an idea and tries to use it, people are then prepared for it, and it does make it really, really difficult. So I was talking to some people about this quite recently, and they mentioned shut down the store and have a password entry for people to join, and then you've got the issues of, well, how do you make sure everyone who wants the board gets the password? I mean, that doesn't actually make it any fairer or not. It just means that some people find the password who are going to flip anyway. So I don't think there's a real answer to it.
Yes.
Or someone writes a bot that can fill in a password. You type in the password, and the bot it's off to the races. So.
Yeah, you type in the password, or you copy and paste it in, hit enter, and the bot goes and does its thing.
Yeah. Blind Panda in chat says 50-50 split on the units between first come, first sale, or first come, first serve, and raffle. I mean, I guess that's sort of kind of a middle ground approach in a way, but I mean, at the end of the day, what's the alternative, right? Because some people in chat are saying first come, first serve, and not fair at all. Some people are saying raffle, also not fair. They prefer one or the other. But what's the alternative?
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing. Like for the weekend coming up. I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to feel like I'm shilling. I'm just trying to use some experience here. But we're doing the JO1 standard edition at the weekend, and what I've tried to do is to make it a little bit fair is do some units as first come first serve and some units as a raffle. And some people kind of like that, but I've had some negative feedback as well, saying it should all be one or it should all be the other. There doesn't seem to be a way to please the majority of people. Everyone seems
is
to
there ever though, Jay?
Something. Well,
is
right,
there
yeah,
ever?
Yeah,
Let's be real.
But no matter what options I've investigated and looked at, someone's always had a counterpoint to it that doesn't like it.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Upas? Do you think there's maybe a better way to do things, or do we just have to kind of hopefully settle on the lesser of two evils?
I don't know. I'm working on a custom checkout.
That's fair. That's true. Yeah.
It's gonna be like I have some mitigations in place. I'm not going to speak to what they are, but I'm trying to kind of take elements of both first come first serve and raffle and make it a little. I don't know. I'm just trying to do something different. Something different is going to stop bots at least the first time. So.
That's true. That's true. Scott Water actually brings up an interesting point. Says random questions pre-checkout. So maybe you have to do like a very quick quiz kind of thing. And I know you kind of wanted to this is not entirely the same, but you wanted to touch on what is it, CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA as well.
Yeah. So I think random questions could be a good idea, right? Like the people with the bots still have to answer the questions.
Yeah.
So I mean, could be a good thing to do. But for reCAPTCHA, I feel like reCAPTCHA is like one of those things that feels like it should stop bots, but it doesn't really. It takes humans a long time to do reCAPTCHAs. A lot of bots, like you'll see them, they just kind of pop up a reCAPTCHA window, and the human just does the reCAPTCHA for the bot, and then the bot again goes through the races and does the bot thing. And then, there's always, some people will get hit with reCAPTCHA, other people won't get hit with reCAPTCHA. So it adds another element of potential unfairness to it, right? I got hit by a reCAPTCHA when I was trying to get the Jane, what was it? CE. So
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think I was lucky on the C and I didn't get the recapture, but I don't think I was one of the people that was refreshing every 5 seconds until it happened. I think I got very lucky on that.
So Ham Panda said Krellbit's approach best approach. What was Krellbit's approach? Because I've heard that he did something with the slip line. Do you guys know?
Briefly, so what he was doing, he was QCing a number of boards, live streaming it as well. So he'd like go through QC for say 5 boards, and then he would make those 5 boards available. I'm not quite sure of the details on how he was making it available, but then he would ping the Discord server and say 5 boards are now available. If someone in chat can give us a little bit more detail on how he was going from announcing to the sale, that'd be quite interesting. But I know he was doing it in very small numbers, and he was showing the boards live on streams as he went through the quality control.
Doing live in real time and selling them in small batches while live. That's quite interesting. Yeah, Kimchi Jody Boy says 5 per day and only regular price for certain days when announced. He held units for sale for 2K retail. It's quote unquote for sale, rather. So they weren't actually 2K. Very interesting.
Yeah. A couple of people have mentioned Victory auctions as well. How do you feel about that, Upas? What are your thoughts on a Victory auction?
I mean, I think there's a place for them. I don't know. Like that's kind of my, as far as I've got with Victory, right? I think there's a place. It definitely does capture more of like that resale value for the designers. I think in that regard, it's good, but it also, it makes it inaccessible for some people who could have otherwise gotten it. So, pros and cons.
Yeah. I think my view on it is it's good for designers if they have a series of boards. So if we go back to the Iron example, because I know that's what we're talking about, if the Smith and Ruin guys had a series of boards themselves and they were taking care of that, I feel like it's better for them to then run as the designers the Victory than it would be for, say, you as a vendor. And that's my feeling on it. And people are free to agree or disagree with me, but I feel like it's much better to get a Victory is more beneficial to the designer of the board, and I know that's a little bit more difficult when it's like yourself, who pass where you're the designer and the vendor all at once. But I do feel like they're more beneficial to the designers, not necessarily vendors in that perspective.
On that note, Working From Home says Victory for rich people. I mean, yeah, but let's be real. I mean, a lot of the boards that are going to be having like a Victory auction are going to be like $400, $500, $600 class boards to begin with. And obviously, nobody really like wants to pay more than that for them, but a lot of people will. And if chances are, if you're spending that much on a board already, and like you really want the product, you're probably okay with paying a little bit more for it at that point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very luxury hobby, right? And like we've talked about before, a lot of the people in this hobby, especially the ones that are commonly buying those $500-$600 class boards, like it's very much a luxury, right?
Yeah, and I think the people who are willing to pay the $2,000 or whatever an Iron 165 is going for these days on the aftermarket, they're the people that you're targeting with the Victory anyway. You're trying to remove that person from needing to buy in the aftermarket and paying a flipper, that kind of money. It's much better for that cash to go back to the designers than it is to go into a flipper's pocket. I think that's the best argument for them.
Yeah, and Working From Home says Victory is based off of flipper prices, though. I mean, well, that's true, but like we've been saying, the money doesn't go to random people at that point. It goes to the people actually involved in the product.
And it is regulated as well. It regulates itself by the fact that you say you've got this number of boards, and the person after that number, so you've got 10 boards, the 11th person, that's the price. The 11th highest bid, that's the price that sets it. So it does self-regulate itself to that kind of the upper end of the market as well. So I do appreciate from that perspective. I don't think I'd ever want to run a Victory myself.
Oh no, I think
get why they're good.
Yeah,
and
just
why they offer value.
Just like raffle and first come first serve, I think Victory also has pros and cons, very much so. And I mean, like we mentioned before, you can't really please everyone. It's just kind of like hopefully you can please as many people as possible, and that's kind of what everyone's working towards at this point.
Yeah, and as we said before, no matter what you do, someone's going to be upset with how you've positioned things and how you've managed it. I don't think there is a correct answer for everyone. Sadly, we are long past the days where group buys and in-stock sales take days and weeks to sell out. It feels like almost everything goes within a matter of seconds, minutes, hours these days.
Yeah. People will always get mad when they don't get what they want, right? Regardless.
Yeah. And that brings us back to the fairness. People will always think it's unfair. No matter which one you pick, they will think it's unfair if they're the one that doesn't get in. So you could pick whatever the consensus about fairness is. So if people said Raffle's the fairest, or Vickery's the fairest, or whatever the general consensus is across the community, if you had a majority of people say that, some of those people that didn't then get in because you'd use that method would still be upset and still feel it was unfair. Yeah. Fairness is a perspective, not necessarily a fairness is a perspective on the outcome, not necessarily on the decisions made to take the sale forwards.
Melodit says, disagree, honestly. He's referring to what I said. I can justify a $500 to $600 board, but anything in Vickery auction ends up being $1 to $2K. Yeah, that's totally fair, totally valid. I mean, I'm the same way too. I'm never gonna pay $1,000 to $2,000 for like a keyboard. That's just not gonna happen. I was really just kind of provoking the thought a little bit, which is a lot of the time what we're doing on this show, whether we agree with the opinions or not. Just putting the information out there is kind of what's important.
Yeah. When I hear about boards flipping for $2,000, I'm like, I mean, for me, I don't think I would personally do that, because I could design my own and then get it prototyped for just about $2,000. So
yeah, right, yeah,
I can design whatever the thing that I want and get it done. Of course, it can take way more time, but to me, that's why I don't think I would ever pay that much.
I think the only time I would ever pay that kind of money for a board is if it's something of historical value within the community. So there's probably a couple of older boards that I think are probably worth that kind of money. Admittedly, they probably actually go for triple that money these days, and I don't think they're necessarily worth that. But I think that's the only time I'd be tempted to pay, flipper prices or aftermarket prices for something specific.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you cross the threshold of like what is art, and that's a much deeper topic for another time, I'm sure.
It is, yeah. Mr. Petrov comes up with an interesting suggestion. He says, what about vendors having a frequent flyer program where people with a history of purchases with a vendor get an early access to the group buy? I think that's a really good idea, but again, it detracts from fairness. People who haven't bought from you before will feel that's unfair. And I know that fairness in this is kind of a state of mind, and it's not really a physical, tangible thing that you can attribute to something. You can't put a metric on fairness, sadly. People are going to find that unfair as well. And I mean, it's no secret that a lot of designers run friends and family or select few individuals that are invited to certain group buys. I think Brian, you talked with Heine about this at length on the show once when I think you did a build stream with him. You talked about it a little bit, and he was doing the TKL1 friend and family edition.
Yeah.
So I think that's the current equivalent of the frequent flyer program. And I know I don't mind saying this with the JR1. Some people who bought the original prototype JR1s from a couple of years ago, they've been given the opportunity to have a JR1 in the group buy because they've supported me in the past, and if they want to support me again, that's fantastic. And I thoroughly appreciate them and thank them for that support. So I think that's probably the equivalent of a frequent flyer program that we've got right now in the community, Mr. Petrov.
Yeah, and it's not really the first time we've seen something like that too. Isn't Blind Assassin running something kind of similar right now too, where if you buy like previous boards, your chances of getting like in the next raffle or whatever are better. I don't remember exactly what he's doing because I don't really recall the projects, but I'm pretty sure he's testing out kind of a system like that as well. Kimchi Jody Boy says, agreed, regardless of trying to quote-unquote solve the issues around first come first serve raffle, flipping, etc., I think it would be more beneficial to advocate for a change in mindset from the buyer, specifically those entitled enough to flame vendors for offering a product that they want and will likely run similar products in the future. Totally agree, and we saw this when we had Mike on the show too. I mean, he was getting death threats because people didn't get the NK65. And I mean, come on, like, he's always going to restock more of that board. Like, it's just going to keep happening. But, like, the fact that people resort to such hostility just really shows how entitled a lot of people, at least coming into the hobby, and some people that are already in the hobby, feel like they are. And it's crazy. But, like, no one's really entitled to anything.
It's the Amazon culture, though, isn't it? The feeling that in the capitalist world that we live in, that things are so easy to get hold of. Like, you can order something from Amazon and get it delivered next day.
Yeah.
People already struggle enough to understand that group buys take 6, 9, 12 months to deliver. The fact that they then can't get in on them, it's a whole different mindset compared to the culture and the way that we shop for any other product in our lives. It is a very big difference, and I think that's part of the problem. Interestingly, Iwane asks a question for Upas, and he says, Upas, what do you think about commissions as another method to take a chunk out of the aftermarket and move it to the vendor stroke designer?
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think, it's a good way to capture some of that, and then people can get exactly what they want as well. The logistics, though, could be pretty tricky, I think. To me, I think that would be kind of the tricky part as a vendor. Just making sure you have a pipeline for commissions that can get stuff going. Like, Keycult, they're having their own CNC machine now because it'll allow them to be able to do commissions more easily, right? So they definitely felt that pain, but I think it's a good idea. It's just, it's an investment. Like, you have to invest in getting good at doing commissions. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, but yeah, it just requires a little bit of extra investment. And if you're gonna have to focus some time and effort on it. So
yeah, I think that's a fair shout. I think again, it's one of those things that can be tricky to manage. As you say, the production pipeline and all of the stuff that goes into the back end to produce them. Doing things in small batches is always inherently more risky and more expensive as well. So there's always that to bear in mind.
Also, I think one thing that was interesting that you brought,
excuse me.
Group buys take 6 to 9 months, right? And kind of tying it back into botting, I don't know if the same people who are used to buying extras and flipping extras for a quick buck are going to be willing to spend, $400, $500, $550 and then wait 9 months to flip it, right? With no guarantee that it's going to flip for however much they're expecting. So in that way, I do think the keyboard community might be protected a little bit. We do have this waiting period. I know some vendors, myself included, are trying to move stuff towards more in stock as well. I think there's a place for both. But I think the bots really are going to impact the extra sales or the in stock sales a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think you're right on both fronts. I think a lot of vendors would like to do in-stock stuff. I think that has its own challenges. Capital for one, space for another. Time to tie up that kind of cash and make sure you've got the right cash flow in place and stuff. I don't think it's for all of the vendors, sadly, yet. But I think it's definitely going to start to trend that way. I don't think we'll see the closure of group buys anytime soon. I think that'll absolutely happen for a long time yet. But I do think we'll start to see more and more in stock, and I think that's only going to be a good thing for the community overall. For example, if you're dropping 200 brutals one day and then 200 brutals 2 months later, is that going to say compensate for the demand? Is that going to reduce eventually over time, that people think, I don't need to bot this because it's probably going to be available anyway? I think there's a long way to go, but I think it's definitely a good option.
I mean, that's at the end of the day just introducing more product to the market, and that's what people want anyways. So Grundamir in chat brings up it says basic question: why worry about what happens after you distribute your sought after products in a way you think is fair, death threats aside?
Oh man, so, can I go first and then let's get Upas on?
Sure.
Because as vendors and designers, we care. We want people to get boards and products that care about them. I don't want to sell someone a board who's going to flip it. I want someone to get the board and love it and care for it and cherish it and enjoy it. And one of the biggest things that's ever happened to me is that all of the original JO1 OG owners, not a single one of them has ever sold it. That means more to me than I could ever tell anyone. Just because we care.
Yeah, I mean, the vendors and designers are, in this hobby at least, are a part of the hobby. They were once consumers. They are passionate about the hobby, and they actually give a damn. Whereas, a lot of the bigger businesses where you have the owners and the higher ups in the businesses, they don't really care about the actual products or the market. They care about how much money they can generate for their company.
Yeah. How do you feel, Upas?
No, I'm totally on the same page there. I want people using the boards who I want the people who get my boards to use them and appreciate them, right? Like Jay said, like a lot of us in the community started as consumers first, right? It would suck to be in that position where, like, you know, bots bought out all the keyboards, and the only way I could get a board that I wanted was paying resale. That's kind of what I want to avoid, right? Because I was there too, right?
Yeah, I mean that's how a lot of vendors and designers even start in this hobby, because they want a specific product that isn't on the market, and they're just that interested in actually starting it up, which is awesome to see, and it just brings about a lot more things in the marketplace.
Mr. Petro asks another question for you, Upas. He says, can you discuss how you choose which boards you run? Specifically, do you ever run boards even though they might not be to your own taste or preference?
I want to say yes. Like, you know, there's some boards that I probably wouldn't use as daily drivers. Like, I tried 40s. I really tried 40s. Like, I really wanted to use the Equinox as like a daily, and I just couldn't get used to it, right? But that doesn't mean I'm never going to run another 40, right?
Sure.
The Adelaide, right? I'm going to run that with Abec, and it's not a 40, but it's a 50, right? It's a little bit easier to use, but still, like, you know, I kind of miss some of my keys. So I'll definitely run things that, you know, might not ever be like daily drivers for myself. That said, I don't think I would ever design something or like do like a premium design to kind of that I wouldn't personally use myself. If that makes sense.
Sure, I get that. I think the way I'd put it for myself, and I know it wasn't positioned to me, but the way I'd put it for myself is that I have to have an interest in the project. Like, if it's not interesting to me, I don't feel like I'm the right person to be the one who's promoting it or selling it. You know, if I only have like a passing interest, it doesn't feel like I'm the right person to do that. Whereas if I do have an interest, whether it's something I would use or not, then I'm going to be more positive about it, and I'm going to be able to, I'll do a better job, you know, around it. So I have to be positive about it. Is my way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, just echoing the same comments, like, exactly. Like, I need to like it. I need to like it in some aspect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to sell products that you don't believe in, right? That'd be kind of
Exactly.
Kind of
Yeah, like you have to, even if it's not something you're going to use, you have to actively like it to be able to do that piece of work justice. And it is a piece of work. Like, you know, speaking to designers, speaking to manufacturers, and doing all of that. It's hard to do that if you're not personally interested in seeing the project success. And the more interested you are, the easier that becomes, I think.
And it goes for key sets as well, right? Like, how do I pick the key sets that I'm going to run? It's like, well, the first requirement is I have to like it. You know, I have to be like excited for it, and then I can consider running it, right? There's a number of other factors, mostly like scheduling, right? That's the hardest part of the key sets, but.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because it's much harder for you guys in the US compared to us guys in the EU on terms of scheduling for key sets, right? Because for those that you don't know, the number of sales that you have in the US is significantly greater than the number of sales you have in the EU, anywhere between, I don't know, like 10 times and 50 times or something like that. I don't know what the numbers are, but for the EU vendors, it's much easier to run multiple products at one time, because we will have fractionally, you know, as a fraction, we'll have less volume to deliver. So whilst Upas and I might have similar capacities in how much we can ship in a given period of time, that might be 5 key sets for me, but it'll only be 1 for you in the US, Upas, right?
Yeah, like, it's rough, right? A lot of the times, like, if I think something's going to do really well, I'll like, you know, try to schedule something that might be a little bit more niche, something that, like, I like a lot, but maybe I haven't seen like a ton of community interest in. Like, I still think there's a place to do that, and I think there's a place for those projects. I know others might disagree, but you know, part of the fun part about being a vendor is being able to see projects that I like that might not have otherwise gotten a chance to have a fair shake, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and we're getting quite a few questions in here already, and I feel like this has kind of organically transitioned over to a Q&A section, which is more or less fine. But in that sense, we're gonna do a quick sponsor spot. Jay and I are gonna talk about our lovely sponsors for a moment, and then we're gonna get right back into this. And feel free to just start asking questions right now. I know a few people have already done it, but we're gonna kind of go back and get to some of these as well. As Jay shows off a lovely, what is that, a unicorn? What was that?
It's a little alpaca. It's the
an alpaca. Ah, okay.
Yeah, it came in this week from Halton. Halton sent. Well, I bought 3 from Halton. I gave one away, and then this is my personal one. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna.
Fell over on the desk.
That's adorable, man. I need one of those. I need to start.
Cool.
I have like a keyboard plushie collection starting, and I have a lot of plushies that I used to get when I was more into artisans, and I'm kind of starting a little collection, and it's going to be glorious. But I'm going to put that aside for now. If you guys have questions in the chat, make sure you use the tag @TopClack so we can pick them out of the chat a lot easier. And we're going to get back to your questions momentarily. And until then, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our lovely sponsors.
Sure.
Starting out with the one, the only, the wonderful Cannonkeys, who has numerous things going on as usual. So you can find the GMK Monokai material, which is going to be starting on the 4th, so that's tomorrow. And then if you want some switches, he definitely has you covered there. Gateron switches in stock, Cherry switches in stock, Blueberry switches in stock, Duroc stabilizers in stock, all that good stuff. If you're curious about the Cannonkeys Silk or Dry series, those will be coming very soon. They sold out relatively quickly last time, and a lot of people really trying to get their hands on that. So make sure you get on that next time they get restocked. Good stuff. GMK Sloth also starting on the 4th alongside a Monokai material. Or Monokai? I actually don't know how to say that.
Monokai is how I pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah, could be wrong.
That's another one of those like coding languages kind of things, right?
It's an IDE theme. Yeah.
IDE theme. That's right. As you can tell, I'm completely a programmer. So
you are 100%.
Yeah, I'm the closest to a programmer that I can get. But anyways, if you're buying something in stock in particular, you can use the promo code Clack, and that'll get you 5% off your order, and it'll show Mike that you love us.
Jumping over to Kono.store, our second sponsor of today. They've got GMK Posh, which has just gone into group buy. So do feel free to check that out if you're interested. As well as GMK Posh, they've also got a GMK Shoko Round 2, which is live at the minute, which is one of my favorite key sets from last year, now in Round 2. If you have missed any of Kono's recent group buys, then you can generally join in for a pre-order. They have pre-orders open for a lot of key sets that have run recently, GMK Deku and EPBT Ivory and all of the other sets that they've run quite recently. You can take a look through and join a pre-order. That means that you'll get the key set when the group buy ships rather than having to wait for the extra sales to go live as well. So definitely take a look at that. As well as that, they've also got the Hex Gears boards available as well. Different ones we're going to talk about this week. It's the Impulse, Nova, and the Supernova boards are in stock. So if you know someone who needs a good entry-level keyboard at a reasonable price to try and bring them into the hobby or to work from home with or something similar, those could be right up your street.
Heck yeah. Moving right along, we have the wonderful KBDfans, who is quite a great place to visit if you're particularly new to the hobby or maybe you're kind of buying on a budget. They usually have quite a few great things in stock at a very reasonable price. A couple group buys they have going on right now. They have the B-Box ABS pink plastic cases. So, we're seeing a lot more of this very inexpensive kind of plastic case that honestly looks pretty lovely for the price. So if you want it in pink, bam, there you go, only $30. And following the kind of pink theme here, we have the Enjoy PBT blank pink key set. And this is also very budget friendly, only $38 for that. Compatibility, not amazing, but it will fit a lot of basic boards, and that will work for a lot of people. So if you're a fan of pink, those two, probably not a bad combo. And Enjoy PBT Samurai also is now available, which is great as well. So if you're a fan of that, fan of the kind of Japanese weeb-esque sub-legends, that could be something totally for you. But otherwise, definitely lots of other things in stock, whether you want some switches, keycaps, stabilizers, cases. They do have a B-stock market, and sometimes you can get some pretty banging deals. I recently saw one of the high-profile Tofu cases for like $40-ish, which is pretty good. So definitely make sure you're checking out the B-stock market there.
Finally, moving over to Mekanisk, our last sponsor of today. run by the wonderful Leandrin, if I can get my words out. So a few things to call out here. One is, there's a few things in stock. You can get stabilizers in that lovely ultramarine colorway. You can also get the WT60D, the Wilbur PCB that's in that ultramarine color as well, which looks absolutely fantastic. No boards at the minute, but he is teasing the tinned TKL as well, which is coming soon. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And I'm going to drop in the link to chat for the tin TKL specifically, because I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping it's going to come in that E Ultra Hot, his new bright pink colorway as well. So definitely interested in seeing that come to life.
That is quite a colorway. I'm very much looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now to roll back into the kind of, I guess I'll call it a Q&A segment, although we've kind of been unofficially doing Q&A for a little while now, which is totally fine. This is, of course, a discussion stream at its very core, and we want to talk to you guys. So I'm going to scroll back in chat and just try to touch on some of the questions that we didn't quite get to yet. But, of course, keep getting those questions in. @TopClackTag helps us out a lot.
You'll have to drive for this bit, Brian, because my chat's scrolled on and I can't.
I got it. Yeah, I'm scrolling back a little. Chat's been moving quick this episode. People are just
right.
People are enamored with Upas, I think. So that's been what's going on, which I can totally see why. I mean, it's pretty. You just look into his eyes and like you've already fallen in love. Uncool Dude says, not a question, but he says, if anyone thinks keyboard group buy time frames are long, then obviously they have never bought custom knives.
Oh man.
Fair enough.
Oh man, me and my wife, we ordered some custom. I know we're stepping aside. We ordered some custom kitchen knives. That must have been 18 months ago from a UK maker, and the guy does amazing work. But yeah, he takes forever to make stuff. So I know that feeling. But like the pieces of art at the end of the day. So yeah.
I want to asking. I'd really be interested in. I'd be really interested to hear Upas's and Jay's design flows. Do you start the process by starting with a layout and designing the case around it, or does it start with the case design and then you figure out what layout you want after, or is it something else entirely? So how do you guys design?
Yeah, I guess I could start. It kind of varies. Like, I guess with every design, I kind of have some design goals. Like when I start. Right, like some elements or some things that I want to highlight. For the Brutalist series, there were like two primary driving factors. One was I wanted it to be like designed. I wanted to have some like intention behind the design. And then the second was I wanted to make it affordable, right? And then because of those two things, I kind of landed where it landed, right? For the satisfaction, I wanted a 75 layout. I wanted an OLED. I wanted a knob. I wanted it to be related to Cannons in some way, right? So, like, they kind of start from there. It could be as big or small of an idea as that, and then, getting from those ideas to like the actual end product. For me, a lot of the times it's just a lot of experimentation. Like I will I'll sketch things out. I'll do them in Fusion. I use Fusion to do my CAD. And I'll see if an idea works, right? And if it works, then maybe I'll keep it. If it doesn't work, then I'll try something else. So that's kind of how I try to do my designs.
Yeah, I think I probably broadly agree. I usually like my day job is as a program manager, stroke product owner. So I kind of like get into the whole what's my list of requirements for this, and I guess it's similar to what you call goals there. Like, what do I want to achieve with this? And that can start with anything from being a specific layout to incorporating certain design elements, or it could just start out with kind of a bit of inspiration from something. Like I've seen something that's just inspired me. From there, it's pencil and paper for me all the way. Like it's no secret that it's no secret that I don't do CAD design, and I don't class myself as a designer particularly. Like I can use CAD and I can work my way around it. I can do basic shapes. I probably could get a functioning board out of it, but I absolutely prefer to work with people that are far more talented at that than me. James, shout out to James because he's amazing. And no Upas, you can't steal him. But my process then is to tend to draw it out on paper. And in a previous life, like my first job in high school was actually in a drawing office back when you had drawing offices, when I was 16, where you used to draw out, it was working for an architectural company and used to draw out the buildings and everything else. This is like just after the year 2000, and like CAD was very new to them, and they still did a lot of pen and paper drawings, certainly for client sessions and things. So I tend to go back to isometric and parallax drawings from that perspective, draw out what I want, pretty much millimeter perfect, make sure it's all diagrammed up, and then from there we turn it into a CAD design. Usually when you get it into CAD, things look very different when you can manipulate it and turn it around as a 3D object compared to what you imagined in your head as the flat drawings are. And then it will lead to a series of revisions, design tweaks, until we're ready to order a prototype. And it just keeps going around that loop until we're ready.
What about you, Upas? Can you take us through a little bit of your design process on how you design products, boards in particular?
Yeah, I guess like once I have the goals, I'll have some ideas, right? And I'll try the ideas in CAD. If they work, I keep them. If they don't, I'll scrap it and try something else. And then again, it's like a lot of iteration, right? Like there's been a lot of times where like I'll have a keyboard, a CAD file, and then I'll kind of just like throw it away and restart it, like make it cleaner and easier to kind of play with, knowing that this is the direction I want to take it. A lot of the times when I start, like I don't necessarily use parameters. So for those of you who don't know, like you can set variables and like change variables, and the CAD will automatically recalculate everything for you. Early on, a lot of the times I just won't do that, and I'll kind of just like play around and see what I can make happen. And then when I have like a more fleshed out idea, that's when I go into like, okay, I'm ready to make the keyboard now. I have a solid idea in my head of like what it's going to look like. And I know it's going to kind of fit together this way.
All right, well, there you go. Deported Village Idiot, which is still one of my gotta be one of my favorite usernames on Twitch. Has a pretty
I always chuckle with
yeah, has a pretty lengthy one, but totally valid. I have a statement, and then I would like your opinions. I've recently had an address change and had to reach out to all of my open group buys to make the change. This was painful. I believe that any site, big or small, on which you purchase a product should have a clear and easy method to contact the vendor for customer service. I do not expect to be redirected to a Discord, Geek Hack, DM on Twitch, etc. A quote-unquote contact us widget is available on most of these basic websites. I've been through this as well. So I just moved to, and I think I reached out to 6 or 7 different vendors to change like all of my group buy stuff as well. And for me, I actually didn't have this experience because for me, I just used the contact us customer support on every single platform that I was on. So that leads me to ask, are there a lot of vendors out there that don't have a support page on their website? What do you guys?
Not sure. I mean, so for me personally, I've got a contact us button. You click that, you type a message, and I get back to you within 48 hours, and we do whatever you need to do. But that's simple.
I don't think I have a form, but I have the support email everywhere. Just shoot us an email at support. A lot of the times I prefer that over the forms because if people use their actual email, like I'll get it in my ticket system with the proper email. There's no typos or anything. And then I could go look up their orders. So.
Yeah, and I don't like Discord messages for stuff like doing a change of address or anything like that because it's so easy to lose them. Like it's so easy. As soon as you've read them, you can't mark them as unread or anything else. Email is so much more reliable for that. But yeah, just have a contact us button on the page. You click that, type in what you want to say, and we get back to you within 48 hours. So that's what I do. I think your way works as well, Upas. I think if we grow any bigger, I'll probably put in a proper support ticket system. But right now, everything's manageable via email. So.
Yeah, another thing too is, I lost my thought. Sorry, guys.
That's totally fine.
Sorry. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Happens to me every week. It's like 3:15. I'm surprised I don't forget.
I'm a zombie this show because I basically didn't sleep last night, so I've lost like all of my thoughts for today. So you're not alone. Don't worry.
Oh, it's back. It's back. So another reason why I prefer email and like a ticketing system is because then I have like a record of things happening. If a customer comes and is like, "Hey, you asked me to change. I asked you to change this address," I could look for the email to see where they did that.
That's actually a really good point. Like here in the EU, we have to be able to evidence stuff like that to comply with regulation and legal stuff. Discord messages don't cut that. So having an email from the customer with a verifiable email address is much more robust as well. So it's a good shout. It's a good rationale. Yeah.
Uncool Dude asking what he says is the only important question. Upas, Savage 65 when?
It's ready. I gotta give that answer when it's ready. We have a shipment of Savage 65s on the way, so I'll leave it at that, and they'll go up when they're ready.
He was showing off the PCB earlier, even.
Yeah. We got the PCBs in for the next drop. I have it right here.
Nice.
Nice.
Gotta love that packaging.
Scott Water asking if Upas does all of his own keyboard design, so Brutalist boards, Satisfaction 75, as well as PCB work. Is it all you, Upas?
For the most part, yes. Like I do all my own keyboard designs. If they're mine, I do them, right? For the PCBs, I used to do them all 100% myself. Now I'll do maybe like half of it, and maybe hire someone to help with the routing or to help clean up the routing if I do some of the routing. So all these things are time consuming, and running Cannonkeys on top of that's been difficult. So that's why I've kind of looked for help elsewhere as well. But for the most part, it's mostly me, aside from those like PCB hired out parts.
Man, and you have a full-time job? Man, you do it all. You and Jay just like to really overwork yourselves, I feel like.
If I'm not doing something productive, I'm not enjoying life. That's the thing.
That's fair.
So I think it was I mentioned in like before we even had the pre-show, but like there's no way I could do both if I didn't love both of the jobs, right? Like I really enjoy my day job as a software engineer, and I also really enjoy Cannonkeys, right? If that weren't true, there's no way I could do it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good positive way to look at it as well. Tight Beast is asking, we've seen TKC steer some of their colorways they run towards Infinikey. Will Cannonkeys do the same colorways towards Cannon caps that might not have huge interest to warrant a GMK run? Interesting question.
I mean, it might be a conversation. I don't know if I have any strong feelings about it. GMK run needs 250 base kits to get made, right? If I think it could do that and the designer is really passionate about wanting GMK and not wanting something that's die sub PPT for whatever reason, then who am I to say no, you can't do that? So like play it by ear, right? It's always a conversation. I'm not gonna set any like hard and fast rules about it. It's gonna be a conversation.
Sure. Archduchess is asking, does Upas have any plans to run the original TMO50 layout? I much prefer the shorter layout. A lot of people prefer that V1 over the V2.
I've definitely heard that, but it's not my call to make. It's Funderburker. He's the one who did the original TMO50. He also designed the TMO V2. So yeah, it's wholly his call.
Fair enough.
I would be happy to run it as a vendor if he decides to do it again.
I personally find the V2
usable.
Yeah, I personally find the V2 more usable. I think you said it earlier on, Upas, when you said like some 40s are difficult to use, and just having that extra key there, that extra column there, sometimes just really, really helps the board become usable. So yeah, the V2 has definitely been it was for a little while my daily driver while I was still traveling a bit, but now I'm not traveling at all. It's kind of sat on a shelf, but yeah.
OF Sam doesn't have a question, but he says, show Kobe.
So Kobe's my dog. He's on the sticker.
Kobe. Oh, my apologies. All right.
Oh, such a cute sticker.
Is Kobe in the room with you right now?
No. I'm in my office room. He's somewhere else in the apartment. So.
Melodit is asking for Upas. This is a good one. Which of your boards are you most proud of design-wise? Now we're playing favorites. People like playing favorites.
This is a tough one. I gotta say. Okay, so I really like my premium designs. So Satisfaction and Chimera, right? We might be having a Kobe appearance.
Right on cue. Oh my gosh.
1 sec.
It's like it was meant to be.
Oh, how cute.
He's adorable.
Oh, so sweet.
This is what you guys are all here for.
Good Kobe.
Oh man.
Super cute.
So yeah, back to the question. I was I don't know. I like both the Chimera and the Satisfaction 75.
You
If
gotta
I
pick,
had to
gotta
play
pick a
favorites, I have to play favorites. I've been utterly like stunned by how the Satisfaction 75 has been received by the community.
Voted Board of the Year in Mech Madness 2020.
Yeah.
Certainly was not expecting that. So
And still going for a premium on the aftermarket. I had one in the other week to build for a UK gentleman, and he paid a significant premium to pick it up on the aftermarket. But I have to be honest, the blue grey color, that it was the first time I'd seen it in real life, and we talked about this before the show. It was absolutely lovely to look at. Genuinely a lovely color.
I haven't had the pleasure of building or even really extensively using one. So if anyone out there needs a Satisfaction 75 built, let me know. I want to check it out.
I've still got mine Upas. You'll be pleased to know, and it's still my favorite weight design ever on the back of that. By the way, do you remember when I did the build stream and you wouldn't let me reveal the weight design? You made me tape it up. Do you remember
that? Do you still have Handerbite on it? Is that your way of like getting back?
I do have Handerbite on there. Yeah, I do have Handerbite.
Is that your way of getting
It's actually
back?
at home at the minute. My wife loves that board. Sadly, she's been made redundant, but she was working from home for a little bit, and the two boards that she picked to work from home was the Satisfaction 75 and then the JA06 or whatever it was called, the TKL. Those were the two boards that she wanted to use. So you've even made it into my wife's daily driver routine.
I'm glad.
Iwade is asking for Upas, why is GMK Delta the best set, and when will we see an R2 so I can buy more?
We'll see if there's enough interest for an R2. I really like GMK Delta. We got to figure out what's going on with these space bars. For those who don't know, they're like a little bit. Some of them are a little bit off of WS2. Like they're a little bit off. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this because I didn't realize it was a thing. Like I've got Delta and I haven't put it on a board yet. I've opened the package up and looked at it, and I genuinely love the key set. Like I was surprised by how nice it is, and I really like it. But it was only yesterday when someone mentioned that the space bars are slightly different. They're slightly warmer, and when I had a look, you can see that it is slightly warmer.
Yeah, I mean, GMK told me it's not supposed to be like that. So now it's just I need to collect photos from everyone and then. Submit my case to GMK, and we'll see what they have to say.
Maxed Felix says, a possibly more important question: TMO V3 when? Although I think that was
a big question.
Is that actually happening?
There, right? Like maybe he's got a V3 in the works. I don't know.
Yeah, gotta ask the designer on that one. But Upas seems keen to run some more TMOs.
Yeah, it's a great board, right?
Rightly so. Yeah. The TMO V1, man, that board just went over super well, and there just weren't that many units, and a lot of people really wanting to get some.
Yeah,
they were commanding a pretty big premium on the aftermarket as well.
I have to be honest, I do prefer my V2 though, like to my V1.
You're not allowed to have opinions, Jay. You can't prefer.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I'm not allowed a personal opinion. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Or
yeah.
if you do prefer one, you have to prefer the V1. That's just how this goes.
Right. Okay.
That's sarcasm. For you
I
guys
think the smoky grey polycarb really helps for the V2. Like it's just so nice.
I don't hate the way the V2 looks. I know a lot of people hate on the V2, but I don't think it looks bad at all.
The real question here is put Upas on the spot: Equinox or TMO?
No comment.
fair play. Very diplomatic. I like that. Nice.
Oh man. All right. I think I'm finally catching up in chat. Christopher is asking what keyboards are on the shelf. People have been talking about the shelf behind you, Upas, the whole time.
They've been asked about the shelf back here.
Yeah, people are curious what you have over there. I think.
All right, so this is my Brutal SE. It's a Navy board. This is my clear obliterated 75, clear poly. It has a key set on it, which nobody knows about. This here is, I think that's my TMO V2. It has a GMK Eclipse on it. This board here, that is the Sagittarius up there, and this one down here is you'll have to wait and find out.
Ooh.
Two big teases there: a key set you can't talk about, and a board that you just put your finger at. Wow. I'm trying to look at the pictures too small for me to see.
All of the boards on that shelf, except for the clear poly one, are a shade of blue.
Nice. Nothing wrong with a bit of
Is
blue.
it safe to say that you hate blue? Oh man. Oh, Iwane saying if he can get a second PCB for his Satisfaction 75, he'll send it to me to build. Awesome.
Nice.
Very, very much looking forward to checking out that kind of board. Gradient asking, Kobe sticker restock win.
So we actually bought like 500 Kobe stickers with our last sticker order. So we'll be tossing them into orders. You know, if people ask on Discord or send in support tickets, you can get a Kobe sticker.
Nice.
Nice. All right, we're actually caught up on questions. Chat's moving quick, but not a ton of questions. So if you guys have any, sorry, go on, Jay.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, Archduchess says all of these leaks. It was nice for you to leak a couple of things. I'm trying to see what that board is now. Like, I'm looking at it, and the picture's just too small for me to see any details about it.
Good.
Can we see the key set in question?
Yeah, I mean, I've teased it a little bit on my newsletter before, so I'll go grab it.
Nice. In the meantime, if you guys have any last-minute questions before we head off for the night, definitely get those in now. At Top Clack Tags, so we can see them a bit easier.
So this is currently on its way to me. I bought some sets to sell in stock. They're die-subbed PBT. And they have icon legends.
Okay.
And for another, there's a little cannon cap. So.
You have me with the icon legends. I must know more. I'm looking forward to it.
Can Top Clack get a review sample of this?
You can't ask that live, Jay. That's man, you can't put him on the spot. Like, don't answer that.
He knows I'm going to buy one anyway, so like I might as well.
So Brian kind of got a review sample of this. It's for I sent Brian an example PBT keycap set, and it was from one of these manufacturers I was trying out, and this is produced by the same one that I sent to Brian.
Yeah, it honestly, I mean, the silly colorway from the sample aside, it seemed like a pretty decent product, honestly. It felt pretty good. Quality seemed pretty nice, too. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I'm a little biased, but I think these ones might actually feel better than the samples, too. I don't know why. Maybe they used some different stuff, but sounds good. Nice.
What kind of price point can we expect that at, if you're able to say?
It's going to depend. It's going to depend. If we get hit with like bad import fees, then it's going to be more expensive. But if not, then it'll. I feel like either way, it's going to be reasonable. So.
Yeah.
Have tariffs changed in the US now? I know there was talks of them changing a while back. I'm not sure if they've actually come into force yet.
Yeah, so a lot of goods that are coming in from China are actually getting hit with 25% tariffs. Like literally a quarter of the cost of whatever you're importing. You got to pay extra to the government because of tariffs. So.
Yeah. Okay. It's just like how we've had it forever in the EU, right? We've always had to pay 20% on everything that comes in. So yeah, interesting. Okay, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's a bummer. So would you say that in that sense that the whole kind of COVID situation is starting to more negatively affect your business now?
I wouldn't say it's COVID related. I would say it's like political, right? It's
that's true. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So.
Iwane is asking, Cannonkeys Rama keycap with the Cannon win, and I totally agree. I think that would make a fantastic Rama cap.
Or if Salvin's in chat, a Salvin cap.
Yeah, can't leave out Salvin either. Okay.
I'll have to hit them both up. Maybe we can do 2 caps, one with Rama, one with Salvin. We'll see.
You could play them off against each other. Who can do the best?
No, I wouldn't want to do that. I would offer both.
I know. I'm trying to trap you at some point here today, but it's not working. You're too diplomatic, Upas. I can't trick you into coming up with something like that.
GG No Re asking, Satisfaction 75 Board of the Year edition when? How interesting would that be? You could do a
Board
board
of
of
the
the
year.
year edition.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of stuff like that, honestly.
I don't actually. What would that do? Like, would we just engrave like board of the year on the back? It feels kind of.
I mean, you can do whatever you want with it, right? Like, that's kind of the point. Just like a super special extra edition.
Yeah, like a special colorway or a different weight design or something like that. Yeah. Maybe a polished knob.
I mean,
Who
people
knows?
are paying well over $1,000 on the aftermarket for it anyway, so you could have like a higher priced version for the board of the year edition, like some fancier stuff on there, and man, people would love that, I bet. Would you guys in chat like to see that? How many of you would buy a board of the year Satisfaction 75? Signed by Upas. If it's signed by Upas, I'm definitely in.
That adds like $500 to the price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easy $1 million flip, right?
Just a small loan of $1
See,
million.
look at this. Look at how many people. Look at how many boards you'd be selling right now, Upas.
Yeah, signed by Kobe. So like with a dog paw
Signed
print on
by
the way. That'd be
Kobe.
cool.
Oh man, I love it.
I wasn't planning on it, but seeing this reception, maybe I have to think one up now.
I mean, people will think things like Mech Madness are kind of like silly or whatever, but at the end of the day, it was still a community voted thing, and having it be the board of the year out of that many options for 2020 is kind of a big deal. And I think it'd be totally valid and totally awesome if you did something with it.
Yeah,
Just
agreed.
my 2 cents, obviously. But also obviously, people in chat seem to be really keen on the idea.
I mean, Honeywell did this. GMK Honeywell did it when it won Death Authority's key set of the year in 2016, 2017. They reran it, and there is a sleeve version that says Death Authority key set of the year 2017 on the sleeve. So you know, there's precedent there in key sets.
It's almost like people like exclusivity and special things.
Right? Yeah.
I'll
Limited editions.
Yeah, this is interesting. I wasn't planning on it, but you know, maybe.
We got him, guys. We got him. Good job. I love it. Salvin cap with the dog. That'd be interesting.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
If you can get like the design of the sticker small enough for a cap, I wonder how that would look at that size.
This on a cap?
Yeah.
This...
Or I guess another Kobe picture. But I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. Oh man, there's ideas floating. Twitch chat knows what's up. All right, they always know.
Chat always knows. Yeah.
Chat always knows. Yeah. Oh man. All right, and I think we're actually fully caught up on questions here, from what I can see. Oh wait, no, hold on, I'm totally lying. Pylon7 is asking a question for Upas here. Any advice for someone running their first keyboard group buy? Probably going to have to self-fulfill due to lack of vendor capacity / interest. So any advice for a new first-time group buy runner?
I would say don't bite off more than you can chew. So before I ran the Satisfaction 75 group buy, which was 200 units, I first did a private group buy for the Brutal 60, and then I did another group buy for the Brutal 60. The private run, I think, was 12 units, and then the next Brutal 60 run was just about 50 units. So, you know, before you bite off more than you can chew, like, make sure you know what you're getting into. I think that would be my advice. Aside from that, just make sure that you're keeping track of everything, right? You want to keep track of all the orders. You want to keep track of all your expenses. Make sure it's in a centralized place if ever possible. All that stuff's just really good to keep track of. And then also don't underprice yourself. You know, bad things can happen in group buys. Make sure you have yourself like enough to cover any bad things that could happen, right? For the Satisfaction 75, the first round of PCBs that we bought was actually like the knob was offset by like a fraction of a millimeter, right? But I could notice it, so we had to get those remade. So yeah, like if we didn't have like, you know, enough of a margin to do that, we would have lost money on the buy. So make sure that you have like that buffer, right?
Yeah, Yeah.
I mean, ideally, make sure your PCB doesn't have an offset footprint or whatever, but things can go wrong. So just make sure you're ready for that.
Yeah, especially when it comes to things like tariffs and things like that. I don't know where you are in the world, but I know we were talking about earlier on Upas. If tariffs are a new thing in your part of the world, or if you're not sure what they are, definitely look all that up beforehand as well. And work with your payment providers. We used to see a lot of group buys fail because people didn't work with their payment providers to let them know that they'd have an influx of funds coming. So I would absolutely recommend that you work with your payment providers to make sure that you can take the group buy cash and you're not going to hit any blocks or cancellations or stoppages on the funds.
Yeah, and I think starting small will help with that too. Like a lot of the times the payment processors want to see like a history, right? They want to see that you've taken people's money and then shipped things out. It's always, we've seen it happen in the past where someone will start a new group buy with a payment processor and then everything just gets frozen and no one has a great time. So, if people start calling names and toxicity comes in, but it's best to be, it's other people's money. One of the things that really kind of perspective I try to take is like whenever I'm doing a group buy, it's like this isn't my money, right? It's other people's. I'm being a steward for this money until it's delivered, right? So there is that, like, treat it like the responsibility that it is.
Yeah, definitely. Geo says in chat, make sure to take into account shipping /taxes /customs, etc. when pricing. Yeah, there's a lot of back-end costs. Obviously, I'm not a vendor and these two are, but even I know as a consumer that's been in this hobby for a while, there's a lot of back-end costs that go into not only being a vendor, but just managing a business. It's not just how much are the raw materials and how much is the machining, right? Like there's so much more to it than that. That a lot of people, honestly, like it seems silly, but a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that.
One thing I will say is packaging is more expensive than you think. Like cardboard boxes, man, they're so expensive. For what they are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that bombshell, I believe now it is our time to head off for the night. We are fully caught up on questions, so. Before we head off, do you guys have anything to say before we head off, guys? Any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, Upas, you first.
I'm good. I think. Like I don't really have a lot to. I'm not going to shill or anything.
No, shill.
That's what this spot's for. Shill.
Got it. All right. Well, I mean, you saw the keycaps that are coming soon. I guess I'll leak there. I'm going to call it Honeywell Bold. It's like Honeywell, except the gray is darker, so it's bold. Brutal 60 is going to come soon. It's going to be in stock after Chimera ships out. That's coming next. Instant 65, Practice 65 V2, Stack 65. That's an acrylic case thing. Those are all coming soon as well. So just keep your eyes out. Subscribe to my newsletter if you want to know about more of those projects. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, well, we'd definitely like to thank you as well, Upas. I know you're definitely a busy man, as we've learned today. So thank you for taking out the time from your schedule to come talk with us and answer some questions for our Twitch chat. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, any build streams or any other streams coming up that you want to talk about?
Yes. So I have some boards coming in, but nothing quite yet. However, though I can't talk about them until like tomorrow, like 12-ish hours from now, I do have some of the new Glorious Panda switches in. So I'm going to do a stream where I kind of test those out and I build up a board with them. And, people have been asking me about them, so I figure I might as well just do it. And, we'll check out those, and it'll be hopefully a pretty good time. Still undecided what board I'm going to put it in, but I'll come up with something. And I do have a board on the way to me to check out some new switches with as well, but I don't think I can say too much about that right now. So nothing tomorrow probably, but I'm hoping to do some kind of build stream on Monday. But of course, cool. link to the Discord below. You guys will know there before anywhere else what I'm doing. So
I got one more thing to show.
Yes, please do.
I would feel bad. Like I wouldn't be doing the designers like. I would be doing the designers a disservice if I didn't say this, but GMK Euro is running this month on Cannonkeys. They're 2 base kits, one with Latin Alphas, one with Hiragana Sub-Legends. So that should be pretty affordable, whichever type you like. And then also Cat Mizu's running this month on Cannonkeys as well. So if you like Mizu and you want a cat profile, it's there.
From what I've seen, Cat Mizu does not need any shilling. How well that's selling right now. That's doing really well.
It turns out people really like Mizu.
Yeah, right. Like, it was like 3 times the MOQ in day 1 or something. It was crazy.
Yeah. We actually hit MOQ like I went to sleep, and when I woke up, we had hit MOQ already. So it was pretty insane. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually definitely considering GMK Yuru. Are you an anime fan, Upas? Have you actually seen Yuru Camp?
I have not actually, but you know, I work with a lot of designers who have. So.
It's a wonderfully wholesome and comfy show, and if anyone's unsure if they like anime or not, definitely give that show a try. I think it's quite a good introductory course into what anime can be, and it's pretty lovely. I really enjoy it. So
just on that, I've been watching Avatar recently. I've just finished the 1st season, so
how'd you feel about it?
Enjoying that. Yeah, really enjoying it. Actually,
good,
it was better than I was expecting it to be. Like, I know that sounds awful to say, but it was significantly better than I was expecting it to be.
It feels like that's the general reaction people have, and that's the same reaction I had too. I was like going into it because I watched it in my adult life too. I watched it like within the last couple of years, and I was like, it's a kid's show. Like, it can't be that great, right? And then you watch it, and you're like, oh,
it's really good.
It's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just about to start the 2nd season after the show today. I've got a few emails to send, and then I'm going to watch the first couple of episodes of the 2nd season until I have to start the day job in a couple of hours. So yeah, that's my plan for later on today. Only other thing I wanted to mention as well is I'll be building my Petrichor, which is an F-Roless 1800 on Sunday. So it's one of, I think, 12 prototype units. So definitely come along and check that out at normal time on Sunday afternoon. Are we going to? Have we got any plans for next week on the show, Brian? I'm not sure if we can say anything yet.
I do have a guest. I'm not going to say too much about it now because it's still kind of in.
Sure.
We're still kind of discussing what we want to talk about on the show, but we do have a guest next week as well, so it should be a good time. And I do just we might. This question just came up in chat. We might as well answer it before we head off. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like a shitty person. Type Beast is asking, last question, with bigger companies coming into the hobby, your thoughts on trademarks, copyrights, design patents in the hobby? And obviously that's kind of a big question, but maybe we can sum up our thoughts here. What do you think, guys?
I feel like there's a lot to unpack there, and it's probably almost an episode of TC in its own right.
Actually, yeah. We could probably just add that as a topic. Who could we bring on to talk about that? That could be.
I think we'd need a couple of different people to bring on to talk about it, like a couple of vendors, a couple of. I think this feels like. Do you remember when we did the whole COVID group conversation thing? I think it feels like something like that because it is a big thing, and it feels a little bit messy. And I think that's the only way I can sum it up. It feels like there's a lot of mess attributed to it, and it's never going to be particularly clear. So I think. I think there's a lot to unpack there and a lot to go through, Type Beast. So we would be doing it a disservice, or we would be misquoted if we talked about it for just 10 seconds.
Yeah. You know what? That's totally fair. You know what? I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna try to get a bit of a round table of vendors and people kind of more in the know in that, and we'll see what we can come up with, and we can have maybe like a special kind of stream on it. So we'll just stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. All right, guys. Well. Rambling aside, check below the stream. You can find all of our outlets there. You can come join our Discord server, and you can talk about your favorite, I don't know, salsas, or your favorite keyboards, or how much you like the color purple. There's something for pretty much everyone there. So come hang out with us, and hopefully have a good time. And once again, Upas, thank you so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. Make sure to put some hearts in the chat for Upas, guys.
Thank you for having me. And also chat is asking, are you going to raid somebody?
Oh, yes. Yes, we are. Who are we raiding, guys? Who are we raiding? Someone saying raid
Andy Nugent. Yeah.
And I don't know who that is. Hold on. Andy V Win. Hold on. Who is
that how you pronounce it? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I was saying it completely wrong. I was just reading the letters.
I don't know who this is. I've never watched this streamer. Are they nice? Are they wholesome? Those are the kind of people I like to raid. I'm gonna hope so though. I'm gonna hope we're raiding a good person, but I'm down for that. Because everyone else online right now, I think we've raided most recently. So we rated Tiny just a couple weeks ago. We rated DD Decline last week or the week before. So maybe Andy's cool. They're nice. Andy. Okay, a lot of I'm not sure who Andy is, but apparently everyone's really really all about Andy. And that's cool. That's cool. So we're gonna go check out his stream. We're gonna go ahead and raid them. Just give me a second here. Gotta follow. I swear I know how to Twitch. Raid channel.
I'm glad one of us does.
Yeah, I barely do, man. We're keyboard boomers at this point, or freaking Twitch boomers at the very least. All right, Andy win. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and load up this raid, guys. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you did, subscribe, follow. You know the drill. YouTube link is below the stream. All the VODs get posted there as well after the fact, about 24 hours because of Twitch's terms of service. So if you missed any of this, you want to rewatch some of it, you're going to be able to find it on our YouTube channel. So make sure to head over there as well. And to the rest of you, have a fantastic rest of your day or night.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.